Uh, well, I say coming home is, like I just said, if the way the situation was, you can be in combat on a Monday, be at the corner with your friends on Friday. And it's just a huge adjustment for the mind to go from that to see some of the things I did and see some of the things I did, and then you just can't relate to it to people here. You know, it just takes a long time. Except for that, like I say, first thing I wanted to do was get a job, which I did. I worked different jobs. I never had anything real steady until I was probably 38 or 39, but I just had different jobs up to them. The problem was, as much as I talked about you have to discipline, when I come back, I was simply tired of being told what to do. So you can see how sometimes that got in the way of things when you have a boss say things to you and you're trying to hold everything in, and it cost me a few times. Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was very hard because I didn't trust anybody. You know, it was very hard for me to live in the USA, especially where Vietnam veterans were called baby killers and you know, women killers, and our company never killed any babies or women, so it was kind of hard being called that. Yeah. Still is. We still get called that. That took a couple of years, like I said. I couldn't hold a job. I couldn't deal with other people at that time. I saw them as always seeing me as a negative person. I had a lot of issues when I first got back. It took probably about 2 years for me to calm down, I guess, from Vietnam, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I did some things that I'm not very proud of, and like my first year home after I got out of the hospital, I went to Fort Devens. I finished my duty, and then after that, when I got out, I carried a gun all the time. So I didn't trust anybody. I drank a lot. I did some drugs, not a lot, but so yeah, I was pretty well broken up, I guess you could call it. I was a broken man.
When I go to a restaurant, I sit where I'd rather sit with my back against the wall, so I can see what's going on around me. To this day, I still take 2-hour power naps. That's the way I sleep. And that's been going on since 1971. Again, still getting treatment for PTSD, and some things will never change. The sleep habits will never change. I still have the nightmares every now and then. It's just stuff like that you just don't forget. You know, you would like to, but then on the other hand, you don't want to, if that makes any sense at all.
When I came back, I went to school, I took the GI Bill, I got my Class 1 license, and that's what I did the whole time in my driving career. I drove tractor trailers. I worked for a lot of companies, and I ended up with, I worked for Rand and Whitney was my last job. I worked for Bob Kraft. Bob Kraft owns ran Whitney in Worcester, and I spent my last 23 years working for him. And that Class 1 license was nice to have that. I enjoy driving trucks, tractor trailers, and I just enjoyed it. It wasn't a job to me, it was fun. Go to work every day. I used to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning and get back at 6 o'clock at night. And I loved it. There was overtime, a lot of overtime in that job. And I got a pension, I got my pension now.
Coming from the military too, you're always set on the times you got to get up. So usually if somebody's been in the military, you never want to be late for nothing. You always want to be early. It's tough going through the transition.
Drugs.
Oh.
Yeah, medical, yeah. No. They medication, you know. You still get bound up. I'm still a little jittery. You know, if something happens, I spring into action immediately, unfortunately. That's what my wife says. I've been married for 54 years, and she says I'm crazy. But that's, you know, it's automatic. I've been a psychiatrist and psychologist, and
Yeah, that really.
what
sticks
happens
with
is it's a trauma. You've been traumatized. Like if you're in a fire, you're going to be traumatized. If you're in a vicious car accident, you're going to be traumatized. We were traumatized. We had guys next to us get their heads blown off. Guy next to you get shot between the eyes. So you're traumatized, and you can't change it.
Yeah, it's just seared
It's
into your
there.
head.
It's there, and with certain things trigger it, and that's what happens, unfortunately.
After the war, a lot of Vietnam veterans went to drugs, but I didn't bother with drugs. I went to alcohol, and which wasn't a good thing either, you know. But it kind of it took the edge off, you know, because I used to get nightmares every night, and you know, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, you know, thinking, you know, I was in a firefight or something. And even now, I'm taking medication for, you know, post-traumatic stress, and I don't know, I don't know what to say about that. I would just say, you know, alcohol took the edge off. That's all, you know, and it got me in a lot of trouble too. Because I got married when I was 21, and I used to go out partying with my friends, and my wife gave me an option. After she threw me out of the house like the third time, she says, either you quit your alcohol, or not quit it, but either quit hanging around with your friends, or, you know, if you want to stay married, you got to stay with me. So I kind of stopped drinking, not totally, but I still had a couple, but I wouldn't go out partying because I used to close the bars all the time, you know. And when you first get married, that's not a good thing, especially, you know, when you're leaving your wife home.
Going from the military to being a civilian, it was tough because you just came from a place where you could do basically whatever you wanted, and nobody would say anything. And now you've got to stop at a red light, you've got to stop at a stop sign, and it was really hard getting used to it, you know. But you know, eventually you do. But it was tough going from someplace where you could do anything you wanted, and nobody would say anything at all. But like I say, all that stuff that you did over there was deep inside of you, and then eventually it started to come out, and that's when I started to have problems. Because I'm rated at 100% for post-traumatic stress disorder. You probably can tell that because I'm nervous and I'm playing with this water bottle. And it's not always, it's not something that just stays with you all the time. Well, it does, but there are triggers, you might have a car backfire or something like that. Or when we're over at the memorial at Green Hill and they're going to do the 21 gun salute, I've got to hold on to somebody, because even though I know it's coming, the sound of a gun going off still makes me nervous. It still makes me nervous.